Hello everyone and welcome to another Battlefield 3 gameplay video, only this time there's going to be a twist. I am going to commentate over this video. I'm going to explain the processes of cellular respiration, glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. This is a project for my biology class, so enjoy everyone who's not in my class, and YouTubers, just enjoy the video. But first, the gameplay you will be seeing is just various jet gameplays in various games, but that's not the point of this video. The point is me explaining the processes of cellular respiration to the best of my understanding. So without further ado, let's begin. Alrighty then, first let's go over a very basic overview of the cellular respiration, which you all know as glucose, or C6H12O6 plus 6O2, which reacts to make 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O and 38 ATP. And it's an aerobic reaction, which means it happens in the presence of oxygen. But we're all going to go a bit deeper than that. The first stage of the process is glycolysis. Glycolysis is the first stage to the cellular respiration. This process happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. Glucose is broken down in this process with the help of enzymes. Also, 2-ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate, is needed to start this process. For those of you who don't know what ATP is, it's what powers the cell. It's like the electricity or energy drink for the cell. It keeps it running. I guess you could say ATP are the battery cells? Huh? Okay, bad joke, sorry. Anyways, in glycolysis, your reactants include one glucose molecule, enzymes, 2 ATP to start it, which produces 2 pyruvates, 2 ATP, and 2 NADH+, which is nicotinamide, adenine, plus hydrogen. Now, the next stage is technically the Krebs cycle, but there's an intermediate stage before this. The 2 pyruvates that were produced in glycolysis is converted into 2 acetyl-coenzyme, 2 CO2, and 2 more NAHD. This process also happens in the cytoplasm just before it enters the Krebs cycle, which happens in the mitochondria. Now, the next stage, you all can probably guess, it's the Krebs cycle. This stage is rather complex, but I'm going to simplify it for you. The Krebs cycle happens in the mitochondria. And just for review, for those of you who don't know what a mitochondria is, it's basically the powerhouse or a power generator for the cell. This process happens in steps or series of reactions. In this process, 2 acetyl-coenzyme is broken down into 2 ATP, 2 NADH, 2 FADH, and 2 carbon dioxides. This process is mainly to generate electrons for ETC, or electron transport chain, which is the final step. Okay, the final stage happens in the inner mitochondria's membrane. During this process, redox reaction happens, which means molecules are losing their electrons. What are losing their electrons? Well, the NADH and FADH molecules that were produced in the previous reactions. There's a total of 10 NADH in this reaction, 2 from glycolysis, 2 from the intermediate stage, and 6 from the Krebs cycle. The 2 FADH will also be in this reaction. The other reactant is oxygen. These will react to make a colossal 34 ATP and some water. Now, the reactions that happen in this stage happens in small steps. Why? Because if all the NADH were to react at once, the heat energy produced is enough to destroy the cell. Basically, the cell would simultaneously combust. So to recap everything briefly, there are 3 stages to cellular respiration. First, glycolysis, which uses glucose, enzymes, and 2 ATP to start to produce 2 pyruvates, 2 ATP, and 2 NADH. Stage 1.5, which changes the 2 pyruvates into 2 acetyl coenzymes, 2 carbon dioxides, and 2 NADH. Stage 2.0, the Krebs cycle, uses the 2 acetyl coenzymes to make 2 ATP, 6 NADH, 2 FADH, and 4 carbon dioxides. The final stage, which is the electron transport chain, takes all the NADH and FADH and oxygen to make 34 ATP and some water. After all this reactions happens, 38 ATP is produced from a single glucose molecule. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I had fun doing this commentary. I hope to do more in the future. I hope to do a live commentary soon. So, well, subscribe, rate, like, and have a nice day, folks.